I was going to start by saying that right now I think we're still in a time of fear and about the external and internal pressures to edit or to curtail or to censor discussions of volatile topics, and that's just, I mean, what could have been a better illustration of that than what happened? Well, I have been wondering. Three have been wondering what would happen in 2021 if Tony Kushner were to say the same or similar things. But I did want to try to reassure people that this kind of opposition is not new, and just to show a couple of pieces that appeared around the time of our work. Some will remember Michael Costello, who was an occasional opinion contributor to the Daily News. This is not in response to Tony Kushner, I don't think, but to an announcement by Trent Lott, who was the Senate Majority Leader at the time, that he's lamenting the fact that the Clinton administration had declared that homosexuality was not an illness, and the APA, American Psychological Association, had said the same thing. There's a passage in this article that I was just going to read a little bit of. The victory homosexuals won when the APA dropped homosexuality from its list of recognized mental illnesses is really nothing to be proud of. This was achieved less through scientific deliberations than by intimidation. The net effect has been to deny treatment to homosexuals who seek it. And then the other piece is we blocked the name because we used it as a text in class and didn't want there to be any repercussions for the author. It was written by Stephen Lyons, who had formerly been the editor of the UI Alumni magazine, and had grown, I think, increasingly disillusioned with trying to sing the good song all day long, and so had left that job. And this is kind of a parting piece that appeared in High Country News after he had left his work and was moving to Washington. I can't read it really right now because screens are in the way and I'm not sure how to get rid of them. Oh, here we go. A diverse America with an exciting cultural vibrancy is leaving Idaho behind. A trend the state cultivates with signals like Idaho is what America used to be, and welcome to Idaho, now go home. The first slogan is true when you consider America used to be more sexist, racist, xenophobic, and environmentally unaware. We didn't, I think, at the time feel that kind of public opposition to the programming that we were doing, because I think our focus was so precisely curricular after Tony Kushner's visit. As David mentioned, we had incorporated the script of Angels in America in a number of courses. In 1999, this is sort of at the end of our fellowship year, the three of us began to be involved in discussions with other groups, a much wider community. And the specific focus of that discussion in the summer of 1999 was the American Studies 101 course, which was just being revised and developed. I mention this because of the people involved whose names are on the roster here, and because these people really drove the creation of the new first-year interdisciplinary core discovery curriculum. It's a hall of fame as far as I'm concerned, with people who did the work in the early days. A few slides here just of the effort to create this syllabus. It was always an iterative process. We wanted to think of ways in which all of us could be involved in creating materials for and means of teaching a bunch of stuff that was at that point far out of our disciplines. So I have been wondering whether a text like Rothenberg's Race, Class, and Gender in the United States could even be used in a class in the fall of 2021 at the University of Idaho. We showed films that highlighted conditions of indigenous peoples, Black people, working class people. And in the process of developing this syllabus, we really relied on perspectives that that brought topics into focus in a whole different way for many of us. There's Nels Reese's handout at that 1999 seminar, talking about the connections between identity and place, examples of the syllabus being revised as we discussed. And over here, Mark Warner's questionnaire from Anthropology 220, where he asks questions like, what's your best estimate of the number of Native Americans in the United States right now? Is violence innate, or is it a result of society? Again, a question in my mind whether such discussions will go on happily right now in the University of Idaho classroom. As Kathy mentioned, at the same time all of our discussions were going on, the Fund for Post-Secondary Education had given the university $500,000 to pilot a new way of doing general education. It was the development of a values inflected first year general education program, and the groundwork was laid by so many of the people whose names you've already seen up there, and who worked in lots of different ways to make this kind of thing happen. But just to highlight these three things: an understanding of the past and its influence on contemporary values and institutions, the diverse nature of US cultures and its relationship to other cultures, and a well-grounded understanding of one's own values, attitudes, and responsibilities, a specifically value-based curriculum. The first result was Contemporary American Experience, which we piloted right around 2000, 2001, something like that, might have been a year later. A year-long theme-based course. It was team taught and team developed, and this is the thing that still amazes me: weekly team meetings where we taught each other how to deliver the materials of our particular bailiwick. Great meetings. It had a rigorously interdisciplinary syllabus. From the point of view of the faculty who were involved in this thing, and I hope some of them are still here and can chime in and say what their experience was. It was thrilling, it was exhausting, it was energizing. And for the last 10 years of my teaching career, it was among the best things that happened for me. I do hope some of the people who were here before will eventually share their perspectives. Dale Graydon, Michael O'Rourke, Walter Hesford, Rodney Fry, Tom Drake, Pat Hart, Mark Warner, Mary Dupree. I meant to say earlier that Mary and I had worked on an interdisciplinary course before our fellows program called Nature and Human Cultures, where we experimented with team teaching and collective development of a syllabus. That was also a great experience and helped this course come to be. Some of you will remember and will have taught some of these later core discovery courses, The Monsters We Make. That was an O'Rourke and Carrie McKeever creation, I think, and Dean Pantea. Sacred Journeys, Rodney Fry, Walter. Love and Happiness was Tom Drake's baby. The New Wild West was taught by Brandon Schrand and David Roon in the College of Natural Resources. And there were many, many other people who involved themselves in these one semester integrated seminar courses, which is what the core discovery class became after a while, after the FIPSE money ran out, and finally disappeared altogether last spring. This is the, as far as I know, the last time the university has dedicated itself to modeled interdisciplinary instruction aimed at a wide undergraduate audience.
Gary, could I interrupt for just a minute? We're not seeing your screen. We're seeing just the slide of the island. I'm wondering, can you?
It says I'm screen sharing, but maybe I'll stop the share and try again.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think it would be helpful to see that. Yeah, so you maybe have another window on your monitor.
Yeah.
That you could choose instead of this one.
So you're not seeing it now? It says you're seeing it.
We're seeing the Mac Catalina slide. So when you hit the screen share button, you can pick which screen that's open that we'll see, I think.
Huh. All right, well, let's see. I don't see that I have two desktops open, so I see only this as the thing I'm sharing. Sorry, it's really just a
Weird.
it's a picture of a list of things that the Contemporary American Experience course tried to represent. It's not a critical slide. And in any case, I'm finished. So I hope there's still a little bit of time for the people who are online to talk about what their experience was, or just reactions to what we've tried to present.
I'm afraid we've lost some of the participants, Walter and Pat Hart and Ivor, but I would be curious to know just a little bit more about the Esprit de corps you created with that group of instructors, and more about the weekly meetings and the ways in which that you were able to just keep that spirit going into the following years.
Well, I could just say again that I think the fact of having the money from FIPSI to give us the leisure to think about interdisciplinary undergraduate education was a huge boon to this process. We certainly weren't the only 3 people on campus interested in questions of diversity, and there was already a willing and large group of people involved in that discussion. What do you guys think?
I would add that humanities faculty were committed, and social science and people across campus were committed to trying to provide a valuable interdisciplinary experience for undergraduate students. And I also think we were buoyed by one another's participation. I mean, I think everyone fed off everyone else's energy, and it allowed us to do some things that we couldn't have done, at least I couldn't have done by myself.
Maybe another question, thinking back to Kurt Olson's influence. You were the first 3 Humanities Fellows, but was it envisioned that there would be others to follow? When you were commissioned, did he say, this is the first cohort, but we're going to be doing this every 2 years as long as the money runs out? Or did the success of your program lay the foundation for the one we heard about 2 weeks ago with Dan, Rick, and Michael O'Rourke?
I think the plan was for it to go on forever.
Kenton, weren't you part of the cohort, the 3rd cohort?
I think so, yeah, 2002, 2003, so 2 years after the 2nd cohort. But it seems like after our group, there continued to be Humanities Fellows, but their charge didn't include the campus-wide engagement, and that it became perhaps more on faculty development and the opportunity for interdisciplinary connections, and there wasn't that sort of big splash that came from the first 3 groups.
Well, you'll recall that the grant proposal also had distinguished humanities faculty appointments, and Gary was the first one and Rodney Fry was the second one, and they were staggered and as part of this program. And so they had Gary can speak better than I can, but their goal was to highlight the humanities in campus-wide events.
Yeah, as I think we all know, there's kind of a mystery of what's become of the funds that supported the program. Kathy maintained them through her administration of the college, and after that it becomes murky. I hope I'm not saying too much. The program always had the potential to be anything it wanted. I mean, the fellows made their decisions about what they thought they'd be best able to do. But I think your suggestion, Kenton, that faculty development was part of it is certainly true. And faculty got tons of benefits from the development opportunities that were made available by the fellows. And I think that all has curricular implications too.
Are there lessons for today's faculty from your experience in terms of how to engage students on controversial issues without making the spotlight of the Idaho legislature come down upon what is being done on campus? Can we draw some conclusions about from the tightrope that you walk to be respectful of other viewpoints and tolerant while still challenging students to get outside their comfort zones?
Well, I would love to hear Jen Ladino speak about that.
Jen?
Give me what?
Well, just Ken's asking about the challenges of doing something controversial on campus right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the question was what advice you have for people now, and I do want to hear your answer to that. I don't think what we're doing with the Confluence Lab is controversial. I think it's received a lot of support both internally and externally. So I don't know if I'm the best person to speak to it, but I would love to hear your advice for new folks trying to navigate more challenging topics. I mean, climate change is a challenging topic for sure. So I guess I have some maybe a different answer to that question, but I would like to hear you all respond first. Well,
you know, the thing that enabled all of this was money, and is enabling the project that you're involved in too. I think the winning of a grant brings attention, and it also enables people to feel endorsed to talk about things that that may not otherwise, you know, be able to be talked about. And if I had any advice, I confess to feeling fairly gloomy about the climate right now. Not the, well, yes, about the climate and the climate. But I think about the best thing you can do is to focus on what you can do for students and how you can bring that about, and to just be hyper aware of what opportunities they may not have if it isn't for you.
I also think conversations with colleagues can help, because colleagues at the University of Idaho tend to be very helpful and supportive and are willing to talk to you about how to engage. And I think that's an important part of our life in academia, which is one of the problems with doing Zoom instead of in person. You don't make the same kind of connections, I think.
Right.
Well, we've reached the end of our rather tumultuous hour, and I apologize to our three panelists for that awful interruption halfway through. And I hope that we can perhaps try this again later in the semester and give those people who were booted out of the meeting or left to protect themselves from the sounds and images an opportunity to continue this conversation. So please know that your time and your contributions then and now are appreciated by the current faculty. And if you're planning to attend Sanford's panel next week, know that we're going to have all sorts of security in place, including a waiting room and a passcode. So we'll do our best to keep out the Russians or whoever they were who were intervening today. Again, thank you, David, Kathy, and Gary, and I hope that you will continue these conversations with those that have followed you in various leadership roles around the campus. So
Thank you, Kenton.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Kenton,
you
for the
letting
chance.
letting
Really.
us have a forum. We appreciate it.
Mhm.
Looking forward to San